Over the weeks, we've had a lot of conversations about polygamy in Nigeria at least. And it feels like as much as a group of people are saying, oh, don't get married to multiple wives, polygamy is bad, there are other groups and a very large set of people also who feel like polygamy is fine. Polygamy has always been practiced in Africa. So why are we screaming against it now? Before I begin this video, I want to say that when it comes to Muslims taking multiple wives, this video is not about that, because I believe that it is allowed in the Islamic religion, and I don't want to delve into that because that's not what this video is about. With all that is going on and the different opinions people have about polygamy, I wonder, do Nigerian women really dislike polygamy? Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Rosy Kech. Thank you so much for tuning in. If it's your first time here, it's so good to have you here. Thank you for coming. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, like this video, and let's get right into the video. We know that polygamy is the practice where one man gets to marry more than one wife. Like a man who is married goes to take a second wife and maybe a third and a fourth and a fifth, however he can handle. Now, back in the days, Africans have practiced polygamy where one man takes multiple wives, like we said. But a little bit of history. In those days, one of the reasons why African men took multiple wives was maybe like for a show of wealth. If a man took multiple wives, it showed that he had money and that he can manage all those women. You know, women are not cheap to handle or to manage. So it shows that he has wealth, or is a show of his wealth, to be able to take care of multiple women. And you know that most times with multiple women come many more children. And also, back in the days, people were predominantly farmers. And the more money you had, the more land you had, and the more hands you needed on those lands to help farm and all those stuff. So when these men took multiple wives, these younger wives, the farm work was actually done by women and children then. So when men back in the day took multiple wives, they took them because they wanted these women to also help do these chores in the farm. And when you have more people working in your farm, more products, more money, more sales, hopefully more money, basically your wealth is increasing. You understand? So this is one of the reasons why men took multiple wives back in the day. Most of these women came in and they lived as sister wives, and they lived together, and I don't know if they were really happy, but they managed to live together and respect each other, hopefully, and bring up their children in the same compound, in the same space and all that. Now we are in these days, as I'm making this video, 2022 precisely, and we're still talking about the issue of polygamy. Now we have different school of thoughts about polygamy, and we also have different religions now. Christianity that does not practice polygamy. Now, away from Christianity, there are even people who are not practicing Christians but just feel like, I don't want to share the man that I'm married to with another woman. So, but you still see sometimes men still go out and get married to other women and bring them back home, or at least maybe get another house for them. But the thing is, the man has more than one wife. Then I ask, for a man who gets a second wife into his house, in this present age that we're trying to say, okay, people are saying we won't practice polygamy, I don't want to be in a polygamous relationship or in a polygamous marriage. One man is getting married to multiple women. So the thing is, even though it's one man that is involved with a lot of women, the common factor in polygamy is women. So if women are not really in support of polygamy, why are women getting married to people's husbands? Now, don't get me wrong, we're still going to this video, and I really want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. We're going to talk about the benefits that women say that they get from being in polygamous marriages. But let me talk about what the man gets to benefit. I feel like when it comes to polygamy, the man wins because he's the one who gets to have multiple women at his service. And when I say at his service, I mean it emotionally, physically, and otherwise. He's one man who has multiple women attending to him. He's one man who has maybe 3 women cooking for him. So why are women in polygamous relationships? Now, you hear people say there are more men than women in the world. So men need to get married to multiple women to reduce the amount of women who are not married. I don't know how true that is. Let me know in the comment section if you think that this is a valid reason. Some people actually argue that a man needs multiple wives because one wife cannot satisfy a man's needs. There are situations where one man cannot satisfy a woman's needs, But there are very few cases of women going about trying to get multiple men, even though there are cultures where women can marry multiple men, but that's not as widely practiced as polygamy. So there are also women who are in relationships, who are in marriages, they are not satisfied, and they don't go about taking other husbands. They still stay in those relationships. In the beginning of this video, I said that this polygamy discussion, I am personally exempting those who practice the Islamic religion because I feel like their religion accepts it. But giving an example of, let's say, Yul Edochie now, who got married to a second wife. He has, for the longest time that we know, been a practicing Catholic. And I'm sure that the Catholic denomination, the Christian religion, does not accept or does not practice polygamy. You would argue that the African tradition accepts polygamy, but I also feel like when it comes to polygamy, men or some men want to practice the African tradition when it is convenient. Now, there are other things that the African tradition does that you don't want to do, but now it's convenient for you to practice polygamy, and you accept that the African tradition accepts polygamy, practices it, so you want to also say you are African and you can practice polygamy. So out of my curiosity, I really wondered, do women actually encourage the practice of polygamy in men? I watched a video where a woman said that she doesn't have an issue with polygamy because polygamy is like outsourcing. So now your man gets to outsource another woman. So because you cannot meet his every need, because you have to do other things, he needs that other woman to meet his other needs. So let's not even talk about the fact that, yes, I said earlier on that a man can also not meet a woman's every need. But women don't generally, or men don't generally practice polygamy. So women don't often, as much as men go practice polygamy, go about looking for other men to satisfy their every need. As much as we've said that polygamy benefits the man more, we often wonder, why do women not leave when polygamy happens? Because the only thing that can make it a polygamous relationship is if the first wife is still there and there's a second wife. Because if the first wife left, the second wife came in, it's not going to be a case of polygamy, because if it's always only one woman married to the man, that wouldn't be called polygamy. So why don't women leave? They say they don't like polygamy, or most of them say they don't encourage polygamy. Why don't they leave? I feel like maybe one of the reasons might be the security that they get from the man, financial security. Because a lot of times, especially in Africa, the men might be the main providers in the family. The men might earn more than the women. The men might have more wealth than the woman would have. So the woman is actually staying there and she's used to all this wealth. Maybe she leaves the marriage, she might not be exposed to that amount of wealth that she used to have. So she wouldn't want to leave that marriage and maybe go start afresh. Another reason why women might not want to leave polygamous relationship might be because of the security too that comes with being a missus. And if you're African, you know the kind of value Africans put on the missus title. You know the kind of, when a woman is missus, it's like a different level of respect for her. So women don't want to leave that status. Let me call the missus a status, because they don't want to leave that missus status and maybe now be unmarried and not be referred to as missus. And that social security, let me call it that social security that they get from being married, they might lose. That's why they stay. And when I also hear people say that men are polygamous in nature, that men will always want more, I wonder why men in other non-African countries that don't practice polygamy as much as it is practiced in Nigeria, is it that they are not as polygamous in nature as African men, or because the laws does not favor them if you take more than one wife? Even though I've seen some shows, American shows, where they call sister wives. If you've seen sister wives, let me know in the comment section, where a man takes more than one wife. But I know that even in sister wives, the man can have only one legal wife. So if men are actually polygamous in nature, why do men who are not Africans not showcase or not show this polygamous nature? It's because they know that the system does not favor it for them, and they know what they stand to lose if they had multiple wives. The African tradition actually encourages polygamy. That's how, whether I want to look at it like that or not, because I know that, for instance, in the Igbo culture, if a man wants to get married to a second wife, if a man wants to even get married to a wife, the man's family has to go with him to the lady's family to ask the lady's hand in marriage. Now, if the family was not in support of that marriage, it probably would not hold, because somebody has to go with you to say, we want to get married to this lady. Somebody has to go, an elder most of the times has to go with you to ask for this person's hand in marriage. women actually escort these men that go to take other wives. So you see women who are actually in monogamous relationships encouraging their brothers to take multiple wives. Are women really against polygamy in Africa? Are women really against polygamy in Nigeria? So before I end this video, I want to talk about the fact that as much as we try to encourage or discourage polygamy in Africa, those who have chosen that practice should realize that even if you give the pros of being in a polygamous relationship, whatever they are, remember that children, I think, are most affected by polygamy. No matter how you think that your family is going to be in good terms when you take on a second wife, a third wife, a fourth wife, it is always going to be messy at some point, because even children from the same mother get to have these arguments, but because they're from the same mother and father, it's easier for the cases to be resolved. But when it comes to polygamy, no matter how we want to look at it, there are different interests. It's like two children who are given one toy to play with. There's always going to be fights. One person wants the toy, at the same time the other person wants the toy. One person says, you've used this toy for longer, I want this toy more. One person says, I have more need for this toy. I have probably more children. I should get your attention more. I should get your money more. Children always suffer more, because I watched a video where somebody said that naturally children lean towards their mothers, which is true. So imagine where the mother is fighting or is competing for something with another woman, and children who naturally lean towards their mother now have to lean more towards their mother because it's now like a battle. And that's why you see that following the demise of polygamous men, it is almost always a tug of war, like a battle, unless maybe he did things in his lifetime to stop it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Let me know if you think that women actually do encourage polygamy in Africa. Let me know if you think that it's just something women have to deal with and they cannot do anything about it because, let me know what your thoughts are. I really want to read your comments. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to see you in my next video. Stay safe, be kind.